Hey YouTube, not so slim Jim doing a quick live because today is voting day for primaries. And there's one thing a few people have asked me about. They want to know about like what recommendations are for different people to vote for and propositions. And for the most part of the 13 props we got, most of them are pretty easy. All of them I say yes. One of them, though, which is Prop One, is it's kind of a weird one. It's get rid of property tax. Now, me as more of a libertarian mindset, paying less tax is always a good thing. The question is, though, is people think, okay, well, I don't pay property tax. But now this is especially good for people who already own their home. Okay, I already own my home. Why should I keep renting from the government? That's kind of the phrase you hear quite a bit. But people don't understand that the government's going to get their taxes regardless. So even if you don't pay property tax, you're still going to get taxed. Um, and you have to understand that, I think property taxes in Texas, last time I looked up, require like $73.6 billion per year. And that goes towards schools, community colleges, policing, prisons, things of that nature. And obviously, they're not just going to abolish schools and community colleges and everything, prisons, police, all that. They're not just going to get rid of it. So they're going to have to find a way to fund those. And the way that they're looking to do that is by coming up with basically a tax for any time you spend money. So we already got a state sales tax. We already have, anytime you buy oil or, gasoline, diesel, things of that nature. Now, we don't have a state income tax at the moment in Texas, but here's the thing. If we get rid of property tax, that means that we're going to have a state income tax. We're also going to have to increase the price of taxing for everything else. Now, for the people at the top tier, the most money makers, it's like, yeah, you might have yourself a $4 or $5 million home, but if you make millions of dollars a year, this isn't a major issue. It's like, oh, I got to pay a state income tax, but people at the top tax bracket, they are very good at getting tax deductions. So, oh, I paid enough in charitable donations, or I put enough money towards this, or technically the vast majority of the money that I have isn't in liquidity. It is actually in investments, or it's in this, or it's in that. So even though I make the money, it's not in cash. So I can lower my actual tax bracket quite a bit. Problem is, though, is for the vast majority of people in the state of Texas who don't have a bunch of money they can put towards charitable, investments, or be able to put our money into, non-liquidable sources and things of that nature, we're going to have to pay out money for the money that we actually make. So if you look at the, maybe $1,500, $2,000 a year that we pay in property tax. Now, I'm going to straight up say it now. This doesn't affect me because I am 100% disabled combat veteran, so I don't pay property tax. Now, they already made an exemption for that and said, hey, if you're one of these people, me, you would get a certain tax deduction. So you're like, oh, you get 25% off your taxes. Well, for all disabled veterans who don't pay property tax, we would actually now have to pay more money because they would only give us a tax break. So they'd be like, oh, well, you make this much money, but we're only going to give you, because I don't make very much money per year. I mean, I think my actual taxable income with my own business is like maybe between 8 and 10 grand, depending upon a year. $2,500 off completely if they look at the whole amount. But after you're said and done, I would actually end up having to pay taxes out regardless, so I would pay more money. Same thing goes for the majority of people who aren't in my situation. You look at how much you pay in property taxes, what this would end up doing is every time you buy groceries, every time you go out to eat, every time you see a movie, anytime you spend the money, because I mean, you make money for your job, got to pay taxes on it. Anytime you spend money, got to pay taxes on it. Pretty much anything you do with your money other than keeping it in the bank or hiding it underneath your mattress, you get taxed on. All they're looking to do is create a way to create more tax through you either making your money or spending your money. So right now they're not giving you the actual numbers and how much money or how what percentage this tax rate would be at. But in the end, it would only be the richest people in Texas who get a break on property tax, or what would be the changeover from property tax to the new tax system. And it would be everyone in the lower bracket would kind of, who rent and things of that nature, who don't own houses. They don't got to worry about it. But guess what? The rent and everything, you think renters, the guys who own the homes, you think their rent is going to go down? Nope, they're going to pay the same amount. So it's not going to help them at all, because the people who own the houses are still going to have to pay for the most part, the same amount of money. And because they're spending more money on everyday goods, they're not going to decrease the price of rent. And for us who do own homes, guess what? We're going to end up paying more money in the long run, because at the end of the day, the government's going to government. So if you haven't voted already and you're going out to vote today and you see that Prop 1 and you think, hey, no property taxes, I'm cool with that. What you need to think of is really, how are they going to try to screw me? Because until they put the actual numbers out saying exactly how they're going to do this, don't trust them, because they're going to screw you. They're going to increase the tax on everyday things like groceries and gas and buying new cars and everything they possibly can, and then turn around and be like, well, you're the one that voted for this. You wanted it. So remember, before you vote, look things up. As usual, any questions, comments, or concerns, leave it down in the comment section.